is VP people.
We are your hosts, Taylor and
Enrico
this is Unfiltered Conversations
Global.
where we have the conversations that you want to have.
But you don't.
We have the conversations that you should have.
But you don't.
And the conversations that you overall just avoid. So jump in with us today for this episode of
Unfiltered Conversations Global.
Welcome to this episode of Unfiltered Conversation with your co-host Taylor
And Eric is VP people.
Welcome. Today we're going to talk about something that maybe you have just stumbled on us from, and maybe you think is awesome, maybe you think is terrible, whatever. We're talking about social media in general. We're talking about social media today.
Yes.
So what are your views on social media, Bwana Eric, or should I say Sura Mzuri?
Social media. Social media is broad, and nowadays my views on social media, technology is good, and new things that are popping up are really good and amazing. They simplify quite a lot of things in our living, in our moving about, in trying to get some stuff. It's making the world one global village. So social media is amazing, but it is also not as amazing as we think it is, because now it affects other things like interaction in family spaces with our children, the things that they get to watch, the things that they get introduced to at an early stage, as we talked earlier about things like pornography. Social media introduces you to those things.
Very subtly.
On TikTok, if you're not careful with your feed, like every click you do, there's a woman shaking their ass, objectifying women at that particular, which it's a way that maybe the Gen Z will think it's a good way of making money. But like, it's, what I can say about it, it's a good and a bad thing. That's my view on social media. It's a good and a bad thing.
Yeah.
For you, what do you think about it?
How do you use it?
For me, I use it on many things. I use it in business, do advertisement. Like now, this is social media, like people will be consuming our content. This is how I'm using it out there, how I'm going to impact other people with it, talking about these conversations that are not easy to talk about. Yeah. So the other way I use it is to navigate around, to get news, to just be updated with current global information, local information, because nowadays normal TV has become a bit irrelevant, because by the time you're waiting for news, you already have that news on TikTok. Yeah.
Or WhatsApp or
Yeah.
Facebook
or WhatsApp
whatever.
or Facebook, Twitter, or
So you use all of them. Which ones do you use? Which ones don't you use?
I use almost every. I
Name
am on
them.
almost. I have Twitter, I have Instagram, I have Trend, I have TikTok, but I'm not subscribed to TikTok. But like that's the advantage of TikTok. Like you can be able to see things and not be subscribed to it. When I was growing up, Facebook was now the in thing. Like I think I was like Facebook. When I recall, Facebook in Kenya, Facebook was introduced in the year 2006, 2007. So that was the only cool platform where I could be able to interact with people. Like I think Facebook, I don't know if that was the year that Facebook came out, but like that's the time that it became a thing in Kenya, and people were posting all manner of things. I remember even like if I sit, I'll just post on Facebook I'm sitting. It was a cool thing. It was nice. Like you can just say that and it can get to thousands and thousands of people, and they can be able to just know what you're doing. So yeah, I was on what other platform was I on? I've been in I've got Telegram,
Twitter.
Twitter, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
X.
What?
X.
Yeah. I do have almost all of them. And sometimes there's gossip on those platforms. You listen to the gossip that is happening around of celebrity, politicians. So I think I'm on almost every social media platform. What about you?
And hold on, what do you use them for?
I said,
Gossip of famous people.
just knowing what's happening. Like what I use them for is just to know what's going on in the world, because they all give you information at different times. The other things I use them for, just leisure, like just like when I want to entertain myself with video. Nowadays, like on TikTok, you've got these short movies you can be able to watch, like where someone is narrating the movie for you. You don't need to go and watch the entire movie. Like someone is just narrating this movie for you.
Lord of the Rings. They found this evil ring. They threw it in a mountain to kill it in lava.
Yeah.
There you go. That's a really short, and you just saved yourself 11 hours of watching.
Yeah, true. Like you see what they do. Like nowadays, those are the you can get uplifted. Like for me, I get quite a lot of Christian content on those platforms. You can just get a verse that has been simplified, that sounds cool, that can uplift you, can edify you in a very short space of time, in comparison to the traditional church where you go through everything. But I'm a church goer. That does not mean I'm not a church goer. But like those are things that help you get into devotion quickly. So that's what I use all these social media handles for.
And you've been using it since it came out, essentially. Right?
Yeah, I've been using anything that comes out. Like I get excited as everyone else, and I'm like, I want to know what it does. I'm there, I'm on it, and I'm like trying to navigate it because like even when you get in office or at business space, you really need to know those spaces, because like you need to market your products. You need to inform people about like
what services you have,
what
or products
you
you're
have,
offering.
what's happening around. So those are the positive.
So for your business, do you post?
Yeah, I do.
I'm sitting.
Yeah, I post. Yes.
So you'll hop on Facebook on your business account and say, I'm sitting.
Yeah. No,
Gotcha.
that was when this thing started, and it was exciting.
I'm just trying. You're like, it's like I have this microphone.
Yeah.
I can tell people I'm sitting.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, really, it's the same type of thing when you hand a kid a microphone.
Yes.
You know, they're just like,
Poop.
diaper. You know, like they're just saying things that's like, all right. So like even when we all get on first on the whole social media thing, it was just like, well, I can speak this thing. What am I going to say? You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. So you've been using it since it came out. You use it for business stuff. Also just keep up on news. Okay. So I have been engaged with social media since its advent, but not necessarily the same way other people have. Mm-hmm. So there was this, when I was my freshman year of college, there was this app called MySpace.
MySpace.
That, I still think that there are some features about MySpace that no one has replicated. Yeah. Like when you had a MySpace, you had your page, right? Mm-hmm. And you could show like you could pick your top friends and put them there and show like these people are influential in my life. Yeah. You could get rid of that. I mean, if you know HTML, you could cover up a lot of stuff. But like you could also like put music on your page. So when somebody came to your wall, like the Facebook wall kind of thing, they would hear the song that you picked to play. You would be able to link to that artist. Like there was a lot of cool features that, I mean, MySpace just went downhill and then disappeared. Mm-hmm. But I remember it was the advent. It like took messaging apps like MSN Instant Messenger, AOL, all of these, Yahoo, all of them, and kind of allowed you to personalize more and interact with people. Mm-hmm. And so you could just, you don't have to exchange emails. You just look for the person's name, bam, you found them, right? And so I remember, dude, I remember talking with this one girl on her Facebook, not her Facebook, on her MySpace. And it was just like long wall posts. It's like, why would you post these to everybody to see? And it wasn't anything like weird, but it was like, it was weird in that this is a long post on somebody's wall. Like you're just having a conversation, but everybody is observing. It's kind of like this, actually. And so I just remember that. And I look back, I was like, wow, that is just silly. And you'd just start thinking of people like who else might be on here, and you add them and you add them. Then Facebook came along, and I was in on Facebook when you had to have a college or university email to join Facebook. Like you couldn't do it with your Gmail account.
Which year was that?
I think this was 05.
05. Oh,
You literally had to have like at NairobiUniversity.org.
Yeah.
Like you had to have that to be able to have a Facebook account. And then it progressed towards it's just open to everybody kind of thing. Because it used to be only like people your age. So it was very, very limited scope. And then they're like, wow, there's money in this. Let's make it bigger. All of that. But so I've had all of those, and I actually stopped. I kind of stopped with Facebook.
Yeah.
I like somewhat engage on Reddit, but I don't really talk much.
At least you're not an old person now. Facebook is associated with older people now.
It's true. It's true, and I don't care like at all. Like yes, this was the advent, and I'm with it. So there's a lot of there's so much data they've mined off that. Like I look at the stuff that's on there, and it's like, wow, like you're able to really track somebody's life. If you wanted to just like focus and say, okay, what's been going on with Eric? You could easily look at that and extrapolate. He was depressed during this time.
Yeah, true.
He started coming out of it at this time.
Yeah.
He even admits on our platform that he has a therapist. He starts developing more relationships at this time. He got married. He has a kid.
Yeah.
Like all of these things, people are able to look at that and then to infer like, okay, these are some other things that are going on. And, we're approaching a time that matches this time in their life, and we should market to him in this way, and we should push him towards these products because last time he said that he bought these things around this time when he was feeling this way. And,
yeah, true.
And it's like, okay, that's a lot of data. And I know that that's true, especially for those of us who have been on there from the beginning. Like they're really able to take a long, like 15-year look at, okay, how does a person use social media? Like, and so how do I use it now? Like early on, it was very much like tagging social people, interacting, reaching out,
trying to be contact.
Cool. No, just like I used it the same way I used Instant Messenger, in that I really wanted to just keep in contact with people. Because I love interacting with people. I love catching up with people, like letting life go on for them for a while, and then, oh, what's going on? And sharing those experiences, like that's exciting to me. But then I realized, like, it was in college too, where it was like, this is a platform for lots of people to be this digital monster, where it's like, I can say anything I want.
Yeah.
And then in any way that I want, and have no recourse. Like people, oh yeah. And then I used to like fall for this trap where you'd like engage with people on this ridiculous stuff. And then like you find stress is probably too strong of a word, but it's like you're focused on that conversation that is ongoing throughout this day. Like I post, he posts, I post, he posts, I post, he posts. And then you're just like, why? Like we're both entering into a conversation that in person we would handle much more delicately and be much more respectful with each other and give each other the benefit of a doubt and actually maybe come to each other's side on certain things. But because we're behind this keyboard or smartphone, we're doing it in a way that will bring about dang near no progress and then make us have animosity toward each other because of the way that we're interacting. And so I was just like, like when we moved to Kenya, I was like, I use Facebook very limited. Even before we came, I took it off my phone because I was like, the biggest use for Facebook is when it introduced Marketplace. I was like, dude, this is a place that I can post stuff and sell it really quickly to friends or just people in the area. And it goes in like days. Poof, it's gone.
And Facebook Marketplace is really cool.
Yeah, and
It is amazing.
Did you guys have Craigslist here?
Yeah?
Craigslist.
No, we did have that.
Yeah, so there was a thing called Craigslist where it was like that. You could just post something in your area and somebody could search in your area and find that. But it was very convoluted. Like they would send you an email, and then the email you could either respond through their email system, or you could give them their number to complete the sale. Like it was just, and the system was kind of clunky, and they never really upgraded it. And Facebook, it was just like I just snap, it's uploaded, put a price, bam, it's out there.
Yeah, true.
And it's like, oh man, this is awesome. So dude, I have sold and bought so many things on Facebook because it's that easy. So that's a huge function of Facebook for me now. MySpace obviously went away. I think I went on there one time recently to find out how to like delete my MySpace. I couldn't figure out how to delete it. Like it has changed so much. Like it is not what it was, and nor do I know how to like remove my data from there, you know.
And do people
could probably Google it. Like I get that.
Do people still use it even?
I don't know. I don't care about that stuff. Like, I'm not gonna look at what's trending, and so I think I have a Twitter. Yeah, I created a Twitter. No, I created a fake Twitter. When I was looking, there was because this is rather silly.
You're naughty.
No, not at all. It was because there was a time where when the Xbox X or S came out and the PS5 came out, there were like people utilized the internet and to scalp.
Yeah.
So they would find out where inventories were dropping, and they would instantly buy up all of the stock, and then they would sell it for double the price. They would sell it for 50% more, whatever. And so I jumped in on that, and there was guys that were kind of against the scalping that would kind of guide you through how to do similar things. And so I got mine, and that was literally the only reason I ever had a Twitter.
Yeah.
I think I don't even know if it's
to get ahead of the queue
or whatever. So that like I don't have that. I have an Instagram, but like kind of like my Google News, like I've trained it. Like so my Google News, I get news from everywhere. Like I have Al Jazeera and BBC and CNN and Fox, and I also have the Guardian, you know, like all of these apps, because I really want to have this what is being said,
what's happening
news wise, because you'll be able to pluck things out and then understand their connection, which none of them are willing to make because they have their agendas, right?
Which I think that's one of the positive, like you can get quite a lot of things in a very short space of time.
Oh yeah, but that's also the negative part of it. There's so many things to look at in that short space of time. You don't know necessarily which one to look at. So so I've got Instagram, but I've trained that feed. So like it'll teach me like health stuff. It'll show me like athletic stuff to be doing, like workout stuff, as you can see.
We can see.
Yeah, you can see.
We can
I
see.
watch a lot of them.
We can see.
So there's that. It also like will bring on like intellectual conversations between people, like short clips of like Destiny talking with Jordan Peterson, or like just clips. And so those are really, really fun to jump into and listen to. And then I can go find the longer form of it on YouTube, the full interview or whatever. And then like how-to stuff, like how to build an XYZ, and gardening stuff. Like I thoroughly enjoy that, like homesteading side of stuff. Really, really like it. So that's kind of my Instagram, which is, I don't think I've posted to people on there. And then, you know, us being in Kenya, we share stuff on Instagram and Facebook. But really, like I read some research a while back that talked about there's a correlation between people's increased time on social media and rates of depression. Now, who knows which one's coming first? You get depressed, so you don't hang out with people as much, but you still kind of want to check on them, so you look at Facebook. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's this whole like Facebook and Instagram is full of wonderful people, and I'm not so wonderful because I see the behind the scenes footage of my life. I get all the B-roll as well, and so I know and I know all my thoughts about what's going on. So then it perpetuates this depression, because it's like, wow, look at their life. You're getting the polished, refined. I mean, in some people's situations, quite literally, they have dolled up and shined everything around them so their life looks perfect. And so you're getting that, and maybe that causes the depression. I don't know. But there is a correlation between the two that is not worthwhile. You know, for me, it's like, what benefit is this bringing to my life? And
Yeah.
it's like, well, you can
Because
learn some
that
stuff.
was the next question I was going to ask. What advantages do you
Yeah,
think
so-
social media has?
So this is where I think that Facebook actually has a larger advantage, because I was talking with one of the high school volleyball guys that I was coaching. Said, like, if you look at Facebook, there is a huge opportunity to really stay connected with people and to interact with them in a real way. Instagram,
How's that?
you can
How
post
do
on each other wall. You can message each other directly, constantly. You can see what's going on in each other's
you can
life
do-
and post on that.
You can do the same on Instagram.
I know, but Instagram is much more catered towards, I would call it the shiny.
Yeah.
Like, here's this thing that I have self-produced that I want to put out to you. Like, especially if you look at the history of Facebook and maybe the older users, it's like, hey, you know, like, I got a new car today, or like that would be on both of them, right?
Yeah.
But like, hey, I had a terrible day. Here's what it is. That's much more rare on
But like I think
Instagram than
if you
it
do
is Facebook.
messaging, that's the same thing.
Yeah, but and also the capabilities of Instant Messenger on Facebook are
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah.
Like, the video quality on that is better than WhatsApp. It's better than sometimes Zoom. Like,
Yes.
they've done something to be able to tune their programming to make video calls stay consistently good. Again, I'm not like an expert on any of this stuff, but from my view and stuff, like the purpose and the focus of Instagram is the video.
Yeah.
And maybe Facebook has shifted and I'm just looking back to the past, but it seems like if I input content on Facebook, yes, the content of the focus, but also the follow-up is immediately that there's conversation about it below, whether it's in the comment section, that type of thing. Now, this is where I think Reddit just kills it. Like, you can reply and reply and reply. So you can have like a conversation that starts about this,
Yeah.
progresses slightly over to the topic, and then explodes on that separate or that nuanced part of the discussion. That was somewhat true in Facebook, but it was much more difficult to manage.
Yeah.
So now the way I see it, like, you post stuff that's going on in your life that stimulates conversation,
Yeah.
that you can message people. And maybe this is just a perspective because I'm in that old group.
Yeah, that's what I think.
But I don't, like, you look on Instagram and it's like you don't see the same type of interaction. And again, this can be, I understand the demographic side of this. This can be, these are young people who have grown up with this instantaneous interaction, 20 seconds, like, oh, cool.
Yeah,
That's
true.
lit. Boom.
Yeah, true.
Like, as opposed to on the Facebook side of it, it's like, oh, that's so awesome. Our son was born just like 3 months ago too. Like, what diapers are you using?
Yeah.
Like, maybe I'm just too new or haven't interacted on Instagram enough to see that those interactions are happening, but it seems that that's the difference between the two. And I was talking with this high schooler about it, and he admitted to the same, that like, he's like, Facebook, like, Instagram is to watch people. It's
True.
not really to interact with them.
Yeah.
It's much more to watch them. And I was like, you know,
and did you put it out clearly, saying like it kind of shows the flashy side of life, the unreal life.
yeah,
Like-
I know for sure there are content creators that are pushing back on that. Like,
Yeah.
my wife watches some hilarious people that they're just like, they're like moms, or they're just normal people who are showing you like, hey, this stupid thing happened today, and they're having the whole conversation while it's clear they haven't showered. Their hair is all disheveled, and they're wearing a sweatshirt, and their house isn't spick and span. And it's like, that's a normal person. Like, it's the normal person. So there are those content creators, but overall, like, and that's what he was saying too, that like, Instagram is much more look at me, watch me, than that seems to be its kind of core and heart. And I just challenged him. I was like, you know, how are you going to meaningfully interact with these people that you're leaving in high school? That you know, there's been some good influence in your life, and you can continue that. But how? You know, how will you progress forward?
Yeah.
And so it's really interesting looking at those differences. And I don't know. I think the effects of these social medias are huge.
Very.
I mean, from a personal empowerment standpoint, like some of the positive sides, like now, instead of like trying to post something in the local paper for $5 and hopefully somebody comes and buys my random thing that doesn't have a picture for $15, I just posted on this thing and somebody will come and pick it up within hours or a day. So that a person is able to find something that somebody else doesn't value very much, or find something in their life that I don't value very much, and then sell it and monetize it.
Yes.
It's like that's a really big positive, especially for people who are having a difficult time or are deciding to shift their focus in life and want to get rid of XYZ, do it quickly and do it in a way that they can still get something out of it. Like that's a really, really cool side of it. And then there's the whole social influencer side of stuff that maybe somebody was super nerdy. They're really uncomfortable around other people, but they're comfortable in front of a camera. And now they can make a living sharing their super geeky thing.
That's true.
Like that's great.
That's good.
Yeah, and
that's
it's
dope.
like having voices for those people is super cool.
Yeah.
Because it removes, for whatever reason that something was there, an inhibitor to their life.
Yeah.
Or helps to mitigate it.
Yeah, true.
But then the negatives, man. Woo!
There are many. Like for me,
And you're gonna
like,
keep in contact with people. Like that's I think it's super dope,
yeah.
to be able to have a close friend and be able to just glance into their life with whatever they decide
just
to share.
to get to know what's
And then when
happening.
you talk with them next, it's like, oh man, that was so sweet, and you know, it's like your conversation can be more full.
Yeah.
Because you and the other person are looking at events that have happened and wanting to talk about it and wanting to talk how you feel or how it went or whatever, you know, like, because somebody might post a picture of their kid entering their first soccer tournament, but they don't tell you how it went.
Yeah.
And then in the conversation, like, how did it go? Like, how did he play? You know, what were
What
your
happened,
feelings?
like-
Like, isn't it so, aren't you so proud, even though your kid sucks, to see him out there trying and like all of those things, like,
Yeah.
and it helps to stimulate that conversation. But man, you flip over to the negative sides.
Yeah, but also when we're still on the positive, I think, like, for example, what you said earlier about, like, you can be able to do an entire thing. Like, for example, if you're building a chair, you can be able to just go on YouTube
Yes.
or one of these places, and you can just be directed. Like, you can do an entire course on
Yep.
this platform.
So-
where?
Even in my perspective, I just want to jump in. In my perspective,
Yeah.
I don't associate YouTube as social media.
Yeah.
I literally look at YouTube as just videos and a giant resource, because there are so many people who have put awesome content. There are a ton of crap stuff on there for sure.
Yeah.
But there are so many people that have put awesome stuff on there that, like, I really associate YouTube similar to the way that I would view like a library. Like, there's a lot of crap that can be in a library, but if you know at all what to look for, you will have endless amounts of learning.
Yeah, true.
And so
but like,
you-
but
I
other
said-
people will do some things on it that are not really.
Learning, yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. I'm just saying my perspective is that it's not necessarily social media, though it probably is classified as a social media.
Yeah, it is.
Predominantly through video.
Yeah,
Like I
because
get
because
that.
now they've got the reels that come there.
What is who started that? Was it TikTok that first came in, and then
Yeah,
they got reels,
and
they
then
got
reels.
shorts?
Yeah,
and-
TikTok was doing really well, and then the reels came in, and it's blown
Yeah,
this particular time.
It's showing another market.
Yeah. So those are the kind of, like, positive things. Now I'm thinking about the negative.
Oh, bro, it's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, if you watch people, like, I remember watching even on some larger news networks in the U.S., ex-executives of Google or Apple or whatever, their kids, they don't allow their kids on any social media. He's like, I know the data behind this stuff.
Yeah.
I know, like, what this like button does to people.
But why do they allow us to consume that if they know it's this dangerous?
Bro, it's money. It's money. If I can get you on my platform more, watching more of my stuff, you see more of my advertisers. My advertisers get more money, thus they're willing to pay me more to advertise on my platform. So I'm going to have this like button. I'm going to have this emoji. I'm going to have this whatever. If I can get people fighting, oh, it's even better, because then it just like blows up and there's this huge interaction. And the thing that YouTube does, it's like, oh, but it's not our job to police that. If stuff starts getting racist or whatever, like, that's actually your job to police that, but we get to monetize it.
No,
right?
but like, it's like putting food for an angry person out there. You've put food on the table, and then you're telling them, okay, this is food. You can choose what is good. They'll eat everything. Yeah, it's the same thing. Like, you need to, like, the way the US is trying to get rid of TikTok, which like it means like probably there's something that they've realized that TikTok does that is not really good to the society or to them. I don't know if it's to them that is, it's a war between them and the producers.
I think, to play into that a little bit, yes, I think if you go to TikTok in China,
Yeah.
from what I have heard,
Yeah.
it's like the learning channel of YouTube. It's
Yes.
all like videos, how to like bringing up education, informative, educational content.
Yeah.
How would you describe TikTok everywhere else? With any of those terms?
No.
No, it's like, hey, here's this song, do a dance to it.
Yeah.
Like, make yourself dumber. Go do this ridiculous thing so that people watch you, so you get clicks, so you maybe get some money.
You can get flowers.
Eat a
and
freaking
all those
Tide
things.
Pod. Like, this is the type of stuff that when I think of TikTok,
Yeah.
that's what comes to my mind is like, okay, there's this crazy stuff happening. But, man, so they're seeing that there is a stark difference between what they're putting or what they have designed this app for in their own country and what they're putting here. But then if you read like the user agreements,
Yeah.
and this is third secondhand information. Like I'm going off what other people have said about the user agreements.
Yeah.
They can take every bit of information, all of it, like activate your microphone, location, camera, anytime, and then just all of that data is theirs. And where that data goes matters.
But I think that's how all algorithms work.
Okay, but there's something different about TikTok
Yeah.
and their abilities that has alarmed a wide array of people. Wide array. Like this is not just like one political party in the US that's like, yeah, this is bad. It's like pretty across the board. This is something that like Donald Trump said it initially, and everybody hates Donald Trump that is in media or whatever. So it was like, oh, that's terrible. How could you do this?
Your next
But
president.
now it's progressing. It's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, this is bad. Let's go ahead and ban it. Let's get rid of it because it is bad. Their data collection and then TikTok says, oh, we won't. None of this data goes to China. It's all hosted in the U.S. offices, and then it goes to China. And then it's okay. What are you doing with this data about all of these places? Because there's a lot of information that is being gathered from our little boxes
Yeah.
that is insanely valuable and compromising.
Because some people like other people globally will be like, okay, it's because it's competing some of the top American companies.
No, I don't think that's it. I think,
Yeah.
well, there could be that like politicking happens, and these companies are wanting to ban or reduce the influence of others for their financial interests. Like I get that. But then there's also like, you're able to track the location of people inside government buildings, inside classified areas because of this app. And they're able to, because there are state actors involved, they're able to look at that data and extrapolate from that data that these three people in these different locations all converge into the same office. And this office is known to be what? Okay, so now we know where all of the people from that office live, because over the past 365 days, they've spent 180 of the days in this office. Well, that can be very compromising to government employees who are working with classified information. Now they can just go to those people's houses because they know where they live, they know their family life, so they can go there and put pressure on them or bribe them or whatever. So I think
That's the big reason.
I think
probably.
fundamentally that might be what the government is pushing back on it, but also like from a cultural standpoint, it may be enjoyable. It doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah, true.
And that can be its own podcast in itself. But so it gets these kids, and I think it just adds more and more and more pressure to our youth that this is what life looks like.
Yeah,
Look at these kids and the way that they are able to dance.
Yeah.
It is crazy. You watch kids on TikTok and it's like, dang, like they got
They-
moves.
they're good.
And you can and people will play that parody where it's like, here was me dancing in high school and we thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Here's like a middle schooler now dancing and it's like, mother of pearl.
Yeah.
Like look at and I don't even mean like sexual. I'm just like, they got freaking moves. Like
Yes.
that looks dope. And it's like, wow. And it just,
I find them cool. Those are cool things like that. Like
Yes.
you can like you can say this social media space is allowing. It's also encouraging kids. Mostly, it's done on the motivation of money, but most of us do things motivated with money. To
but
do
it
them.
also is applying so much pressure.
to
These kids are all my age. They can move like this. I can't.
And
move
I cannot
like this.
move like this.
Every
There's something
video
wrong
I
with me.
see, they're all able to do it, but I can't. And so I'm not
that
gonna.
brings-
I'm not gonna go to this school dance. Well, school dances are a blast,
Yeah.
especially when you realize we all kind of suck and we're all kind of awkward. So let's just get out and have fun.
True.
Like they're a blast, but if you don't ever realize that, because the only things that you're seeing are these spectacular performances, and that's what they are, performances all the time.
Yeah.
It really wears on you. And as an adult, I'm just like, well, I know that's not reality. I'm just gonna not fake my mind out and make it. I'm just not gonna watch them all the time.
Yeah.
But kids, it's like, and this is the other thing about TikTok. They have figured out an algorithm where it's like they show you what is known to be a fantastic video, and then the next one is not fantastic. The next one's mediocre,
Yeah.
and it's okay. And then there's one that's kind of mid-range, and then another one, because it's like they figured out, or they have trained, whichever way you could look at it, this many interactions or this many swipes with awesome content placed well increases people's viewership by 20 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is. So then they say, okay, that's prime. We're going to put awesome videos in their feed for what they would like this often so that we can get this much more time out of it.
It's true.
Kinda like-
Because sometimes you'll get yourself glued because, like, of course, you'll be looking for the next good thing.
Yeah.
For the next good thing as you're scrolling down the phone.
And here's an idea for those guys in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Do the same thing. If you win even small amounts this often,
Yeah.
then the people will stay seated at your slot machine for this much longer. And if overall you have that negative streak, which that's how casinos build these awesome buildings,
Yeah.
the house wins. Then,
The
but if you
house
can
always
win
win.
the right amount of times and program this to dish out the right amount of times,
Yeah.
then that person will spend 35% more. Times that by 600 people that are visiting you that day. That's a lot of money. But anyway, to TikTok.
It's almost like deviating a bit. It's almost like a gambling thing where the house makes you feel like you're winning, but at the end you're going to lose.
It's what do they call it? Chasing the dragon.
Yeah.
And so the TikTok side of it, it's like they've figured out
Yeah.
how short the dragon needs to be,
Yeah.
the length of that time to reach the dragon,
Yeah.
to keep you engaged. And that's the point for these viewership apps, is to keep you engaged, because then it goes back to marketing, goes back to advertising, and all of that.
And that's the most important thing. Which
For
I,
them.
which I think do you categorize games still in the same group now? These video games on phone nowadays, which as well they also have the same effect where, like, now you have to get those coins, you have to watch a lot of videos to get to watch those coins. I've been affected with games at a point where, like, sometimes I could just be glued on my phone playing just some stupid game.
Yeah, so for me, video games has been a progression, and I was never allowed. Like, we were never allowed to have video games. My dad was not a fan of us even going to our friends' houses and playing them, which I think is wise. I mean, I think I deviate from that in my opinion on it, but it's still, there's a lot of wisdom in it, because it's completely pointless. And we probably wouldn't have articulated it at that time, but it is, I think it was really the first dopamine drop.
Yeah.
Like marketed dopamine drop like that, where it's like, hey, this feels good. You beat this guy. You jumped in that little mushroom's head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got further than I did before. So like you feel good, and
Yeah,
so then
true.
you're like, then you become addicted to this dopamine, where
Yeah.
it's just like this loop of like, I got to get this, I got to get this, I got to get this, and then when you don't have it, you feel depressed. Really, your body is trying to acclimate to not having this dopamine all the time dumping, because it's like, ooh, that feels good. And if you just stay away from it for a while, then you normalize.
So that's the same thing that the social media is doing to us.
The like
activating
button
the
and
dopamine.
hearts and whatever.
Yeah.
It's all this dopamine focus, you know, like even companies will spend so much money on stimulating your tongue properly.
Yeah.
So that as soon as you bite into this, oh, it tastes so good, bam, it drops that dopamine or drops that whatever it is in your brain. I don't think it is dopamine. It's probably a different chemical, but then stimulates you to eat more. And then you buy more, and that's more money. So they invest in the research to get things to taste good.
And then you get more.
Yeah. And, but video, so for me, video games, I'd probably say I have a very similar struggle. Like when I played a lot of Halo 2. Halo 2 was, and for me,
that was a popular.
growing up, video games was almost always social.
Yeah.
You game with other people, because before I was always terrible at side scrollers like Mario, where it's just like I was terrible at that. But when it came down to like 007 or Perfect Dark on N64, that was my groove. Much more in my jam. You know, 3D, moving around, shooting people, strafing, picking up guns, controlling areas, setting traps. Like boom, yeah, I was all about that.
Yeah.
And when Halo 2 came out, it was like Halo 1 came out, played a lot of that, and that was exclusively, well,
Like,
I mean, there was some backdoor people who did.
I think they made a lot of money.
Oh, for sure. Halo figured it
made a
out.
lot
They
of
changed, I think
money.
Halo changed like the entire gaming industry,
Yes, I think so as well.
because they did Halo 1
Yeah.
and they saw that people are always, I mean, it was like every other weekend you would have a Halo party.
Yeah.
Everybody brings their Xboxes over. You bring TVs over. You lug it into the house. You hook up to you sit down. You're playing. Everybody smells terrible. You order pizza. You're drinking pop. You're playing till like 3, 4 a.m. You either crash there or you load all your stuff up. You go back home. You're going to bed at 5 a.m. Like for a Kenyan, this is like normal party. Like you're not ending at 5. You wait until the sun comes up. Then the party ends. So when they made the second Halo, they integrated the internet into it. So you could just jump online
And
play with your friends
true.
and meet other people. I mean, I have one of my good friends that came to my wedding. The first time I met him was at my wedding. We had played video games together
without
for
knowing
years.
each other.
No, without knowing each other for years.
Yeah.
Like I watched him go through like a very serious relationship, that ending, jumping into some other ones, family issues, like we talked about all of it.
What was happening? Were you just talking, telling
While
each
we're
other?
playing. While we're playing.
Yeah.
While you're dropping fools, dominating, and conquering the world, you're just talking about real life.
What's happening with your life?
Okay,
as
so
you go
for
on?
example, bro, I don't want to go back and look because I think now for where I'm at, it's embarrassing. But for the time, maybe it was great. I have like over 15,000 games on Halo 2.
Yeah.
And that is in matchmaking.
15,000.
And each of those, at a minimum, would be like 7 minutes.
Did you get to
At a
point,
minimum would be 7 minutes. Some would be like 20.
Did you get to a point where you were paying money?
Paying? No.
Yeah.
This was early, so we didn't. Like, you could go to tournaments and win $1 million or whatever. I was not that good.
Yeah.
But I also didn't have the means to be able to connect into that environment. If I could have, and I knew how to, like, where do I find serious gamers? How do I get on a team? I probably would have done that.
Yeah.
But that was still kind of far away. And we had played a lot, and we would communicate well, and we would name areas and roll off like who's got what and who's covering what and who's just all of that. And so video games have been big. Progressed to other stuff, you know, and I think I've played mobile games, but I think I've recognized that like they're not great if I'm not playing with other people. And there are very few games that you can play with other people. It's all individual focused on here.
Yeah.
And so like I'm still deciding even if I want to have any on my phone because I have some and they're fun, but it's like I have kids.
Yeah.
Like
No.
you're going to tell me I'm going to sit here and play this imaginary game with imaginary people, fake or real, whatever, and not play with my kids? Like I'm telling you, like this, like in our conversations, this is not stuff I have figured out or decided what my boundaries are, but I know there's something here I've got to figure out.
Yes.
Because when it's on the PC or when it's on a console, like time has to be set aside for that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're any sort of good parent, you're not just going to sit there all day during work or whatever.
Not even when you're just a good parent, even as a responsible person, you can't be on games always because
that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
The things you need to achieve in your daily day life.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like those things, that time has to be set aside when it's at this stationary thing that's in like a focal point of your home.
Yeah.
But when you put stuff on your phone, it's like that can be engaged anytime.
Yes.
Like, well, what if I'm pooping? Well, now I can be playing video games while I'm pooping. And, well, now your pooping time goes up to like 20 minutes. Like, what the heck are you doing in the bathroom that long? Like, I'm pooping. Well, actually, you're just playing video games. And you're inserting that every time.
That has happened to me.
Yeah,
many
bro,
times.
It's not something that is uncommon.
And you'll end up getting hemorrhoids.
Yes, legit, man. Like all the kids out there, like what? And it's like keep rolling the way you're rolling, dude. Like you'll get there, and it's like what the heck? Well, how does this happen? Well, are you sitting on the toilet for long periods of time? Well, yeah. Stop doing that.
my wife told me, stop that. Yeah, it's affecting you.
Like legit.
It's also affecting your health, you see?
Legit. And so it's like video games, but I love playing and having something competitive to do with other people.
Yeah.
And it's like I've played paintball and that was the ultimate. And this was like a way to do that late at night when you're sitting there. Like if I could set up a paintball course at my house and have my friends live nearby me, I probably wouldn't play video games at all. You just go out there
and play with them.
Play with each other, shoot, have fun time, like exercise, get a good sweat on, like compete with each other, improve. Now you're done. Now you can go to bed. But when it's like, dude, you live across town or now you live across the world.
Yeah.
Like let's play. How do we interact, chill? Because, and I think it fundamentally comes down to men interact shoulder to shoulder. Yeah. Women interact face to face.
Yes.
Meaning, if, like, goodness gracious, even the way we're sitting, sideways, facing away. Yeah. But mainly is that guys have a lot of vulnerable moments and interactions with each other that matter when they're doing something together.
True. Yeah.
Working on the car with your son.
Yeah.
Chopping down wood, building your house, like whatever it is.
Watching football together.
Yeah, exactly. Like where, you know, the volume's down on the TV and this guy's sharing with you about how much he's tore up that his cousin died. Like,
yeah, true.
Yeah, you're watching the game, and if somebody asks or somebody steps in the room, that's what you're doing. Yeah. But really, it's like, no, this is, and I think part of it is because in those moments of vulnerability, we don't want the vulnerability highlighted. We already know that it's there. And so if I'm sitting there staring at you and I see that like you're having a really hard time saying what you're saying, and I can see the pools right below your eyes forming, and it's like then you know that I'm seeing those things.
And you
or
don't want
if it's
that.
like, no, I don't think it's conscious.
Yeah.
It's unconscious that if I'm looking away, then all of those same things can be happening with you. Yeah. But because I'm not observing it, the emphasis on the vulnerability isn't there. You're just sharing with a friend.
Yeah.
And he's not seeing how much weakness is there. Even though we both know, if you talk about it, that is what it is happening.
Yeah, true.
But the observation of it, because again, we're very visually stimulated as men, that is not the case. It's not there because we're doing this or because maybe you're on the other side of the wall and we're holding this thing up and I can't even see you. But you're telling me, you know, that things are really tough in marriage. Yeah. And then you ask me, like, well, what do you think about this? How would you handle this situation? And if I'm just sitting there like staring at you in the eye, it's kind of like it's like, okay, yeah, let's talk about that football game, you know, like and so
you remind me of intimacy.
I think that plays back into the video games in that you're essentially side to side as you're doing something else. There's these conversations happening. Now the downside for me is recently I've slipped into games that are very mind taxing.
Yeah.
And so the conversation really plummets because you're like, I really have to focus. I'm like, okay, I got all these, I think it's APMs, actions per minute, or that I need to be doing. Like I need to build this and also train these and move here and scout this area. Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of, so what I'm saying is that a lot of the things that I'm doing in the realm aren't really up to where I want them to be. Yeah. You know, like they're not fulfilling the purpose that I want them to fulfill.
There's something you've mentioned about interaction of men that has really caught my attention as well. And I think probably we can do a topic on that, how men interact and how women interact. And I think that will be good when a woman is here. And when we're talking as men, the shoulder to shoulder, and because like sometimes women do not understand that part, and sometimes you need to be doing something for a man to be able to just spill out what you're going through with a fellow man. That was a digression, but like I think it's a very good topic to talk about, because I think it's a topic that I think in many circles that I've sat, women sometimes want to understand how men interact with other men. It's not the same way, like for women, probably the face-to-face thing will be like, they'll be there, they'll be emotional, they'll cry easily with one another. But for men, it will be like you're crying within, but like it's like you don't want to be seen.
You can know, like for me, you can know your dad's crying.
Yeah.
But seeing it is different.
Yeah, true.
So like, it's kind of like when you're watching a war movie, you don't look left and right. Like, because my dad, he was in the Marines, like my grandpa was in the military, great grandpa in the military. Like war was so heavy for my dad that I knew he would get choked up at a lot of those things. And when he talks about it, it's very weighty. And so it's one thing to know that it's happening, to hear it, but to like watch somebody, it requires a level of trust, I guess.
Before we wrap it up, there are two things that I think that we need to talk about.
Wrap it up with two things.
Yeah.
Wrap it up with two things.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's add another half hour onto this thing.
Those two things, I think, like you being a father of 4 kids with the social space, how do you really handle that? I think this question I'll be asking quite a lot of this.
I mean, I'm going to follow the lead of the people who are in the data know as well.
Yeah.
My kids don't want to have social media.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck is the point of that?
Yeah.
Like, at all. Like, I mean, I have considered doing a podcast for my kids, but it's like there's also like they don't understand the weight of what that does. Meaning how to handle the fact that people don't like what you're doing, or they insult you, or that you have this many followers and you want to chase that. It's like, no, I'm just gonna let my kids run around outside and get really dirty and listen to really good stories and play games. Like my son is an amazing artist, and I want to share that, but I also just want it to be that. It doesn't have to be this thing that's marketed, and
yeah, true.
I'll just leave it, and when it comes of a time where we can really discuss the ins and outs, then we will, and maybe we jump in on that. I don't know.
How do you limit their interaction with social media?
They don't get social media. Like that, be clear, like they are not on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, whatever. The only interaction they have with YouTube is for watching tutorial type videos. How do you draw XYZ? Or look at this nature show. Like there's zero and will be for a very long time, zero interaction on social media. There's no point for a child to be interacting there.
So like by doing that, what impact does that have in their life?
I think it removes a ton of pressure for them. And they can really see the value of in-person interaction. They can really see the value of in-person activity. Like it's kind of lame to sit on computer and game with your friends. It's way better to like, hey, let's come over and let me help you with this project. Same down. Conversations. Something useful is happening as opposed to just let's stimulate dopamine to our brains all night. And so, they'll have none of that. How we limit their even interactions with screens, which I mean, that whole technological interaction with your children can be a whole different topic on its own. But our kids are only allowed to ask about screens and watching something or playing a game twice a week.
Ooh.
Like Wednesday and Saturday, they can say, "Can I do this?" And both of those days are generally full. So it's like we're not making it a priority. It's a possibility. It's something that, because I don't want to go. We'll leave that for a different topic. But they're not going to have social media and for a very long time, because there's going to be after something that demonstrates that it has a real good value, as opposed to other avenues that can't be provided over other avenues because of the research and the data that's coming out about how just bad it is overall, and how it's really training and affecting us. So that is it.
What advice can you give, like on the effect of social media out there, because I'm thinking like nowadays many houses that I go to and visit sometimes, the way of escaping on how to, like when your kids are disturbing you, like I've gone to a number of families, and instead of just them dealing with a problem that their kids is experiencing, they just put the TV on, a cartoon on.
But that's not
and-
social media. That's a
Yeah,
whole.
that's a whole
That's
different
a
thing.
whole topic on its own. That there's good data about. There's reality about. You know that but most parents throughout all of time, if they were able to have their kids occupied and enjoying things at a drop of a hat, they would take advantage of it.
Nice.
You mean my kid's not gonna be running around on the street breaking people's windows, getting in trouble, and getting into gangs if I have XYZ? Give me XYZ. And so there's, how do we do that? And again, that's its whole own conversation. But I think overall, kind of touched on it early, that social media has a lot of different facets, and there are a ton of negatives, and we have to be really, really active to mitigate those negatives because they are so under the surface. The positives are kind of in our face. And the negatives seem to be very well hidden and very well kind of, and very much progressively thinking, progressively changing our mind towards XYZ or away from XYZ or how I feel about what's happening. And it's just slowly. And so the benefits of, oh, look at the things that we're learning or the people we're keeping in contact with, and their life is better than mine, and man, I can't do any of that stuff. And I really disagree with them, but the way they make it seem, it's I'm not really human if I disagree with them, and like all of that is in a package. You know, so it's
True.
yeah, it's I think there's a high level of caution that many people our age, I guess we're at different ages, but
Almost we're the same age group.
okay, many people our age are not actively mitigating, and that's problematic. Like the idea that I would turn any sort of technology over to my kids and just let them go, negative. Especially, and social media has shown why that is so dangerous, time and time again. Like, and then there's the whole bullying side of stuff, which I'm sure our viewers are going to be like, well, what about this? Why didn't you guys talk about this?
Yeah,
I don't experience all that because like I'm an adult, and it's like, listen. And this is the other thing about social media.
Yeah.
You will say crap that
Yes.
you know that if we are in person together, there is a fight.
Yes.
Because that's just how it progresses. You say stuff like this in any period in history, it's going to, currently even as well, it's going to be a fight.
But
like,
then-
understand that physicality is a part of our interaction. When you remove that, you encourage behaviors that the physicality limits
Yeah.
positively.
Don't you think putting yourself out there on social media, you're also you're also encouraging comments?
Yeah, for sure. And you have to be ready at a point where it's like, I'm going to ignore that. I'm going to delete those stupid comments, and I'm not going to let that run my life. And that is a real
Because that can
calculation.
affect.
Oh yeah,
That
and
can affect.
and if you find that it's affecting you as a content producer or as somebody jumping in there, you either have to cut it out or have somebody else that will handle it for you.
Yes.
Because it's not worth it. It's just, it's not worth it, you know? And we're at the beginning of this process, and I hope to never have to deal with that. Whether it's like, hey, I'm going to pay somebody else to deal with it, which I don't have the money for that, or I'm just not going to have comments, or I'm just going to hope that it doesn't go bad, which can lead to getting banned from stuff. So, yeah.
And I'm just laughing at it because, like, if someone was telling you that on your face, you'll literally punch them.
Or let them know that that's coming. Like, what did you just say?
Yes.
Like, I'm going to let you rephrase that. Not because, like, I want to fight or I'm a fighting person.
Yes.
I've been in, like, one fight in my life, and it was in high school. It was when I was being a total tool bag. Like, it's so stupid. Yeah. And you just have to let the person know, like, no. What? Like,
no way.
No. You're going to rephrase that.
Yeah.
Because we both know that's out of line.
Yeah.
You know, and that, especially amongst men, that's Jordan Peterson talks about that's always a limiting factor in the interaction between men, that there is a physicality at the end. For women, it's not there the same. And so this leads into a whole nother section.
Other topic, I was about
whole
like
other
this.
topic.
Yeah, this is another topic.
Yeah, seriously. But anyway.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, so social media is very It's a very powerful tool, and I think that the predominant force wielding it is not having our best interest in mind. And so we have to interact with, if we have to interact with it or we want to interact with it, it has to be very cautious and has to be very, very knowledgeable about the effects that can come about.
So yeah, I think to our viewers, it's something that you can't avoid, but like you can know how to live with it.
You can avoid it.
Yeah.
You can completely not use social media, but you're not going to get the benefits.
Yeah.
And if you can do your life without needing those benefits or getting those benefits in another route, do it.
That would be better.
I mean, and we're going to get a lot of the younger viewers are probably going to be appalled at the lack of coverage of bullying, social media bullying.
That I think can be a topic on its own because it's a broader topic. We can talk even about the legality around it in case that happens.
When you say we, you mean you.
Yeah, me.
I will just listen to you on that one, on that episode. All right, well, thank you guys for listening in on the conversation today. As usual, we're kind of getting into awesome stuff and it's time to end. Time to cut it short. So we appreciate you guys viewing. Leave a comment. Let us know, what did we miss? We know that there's big black viewpoints, big black holes of what we are talking about that we're leaving out that you really want to hear about. So leave a comment. Let us know how we're missing the point, how we're wrong, how we're right. Let's be respectful so that we don't have to exercise that delete button.
In short, let us interact.
Yeah, for sure. And again, sit down and watch this with somebody. Watch this with your kids. Watch this with your spouse, because these apps, they really will feed you anything that is drawing your attention. So men, that's a particular weakness because there's very pretty ladies that will jump on these apps and they will show this really cool dance that they're really proud of. And it is not the dance that you watch. It's the lady. And that app picks up on that and then feeds you. So it's a good thing to really be open with your spouse or your future spouse or your parents on how do I make sure that what I'm getting is not going to be something that's going to be affecting me negatively. So appreciate you guys watching Unfiltered Conversations.
Global.
And we are looking forward to seeing you guys again next time.
Ta-da!